It's selling. A lot of people do, and it's because they don't understand the secret behind successful selling. And we're going to bring that to you right now. Hey, Chaffee.
Hey, Scott.
He's Chaffee. I'm Scott. Chaffee, I have this brand new gizmo that I've just developed. I got a million of them made in China last week. They're in a container coming here. They're going to make your life so easy. You don't even know how badly you need this little device. So it's only $19.99. That's $1,999 on special because it's regularly $5,473.22. But wait, there's more. When you buy it, you get this awesome all-in-one MacBook Pro mouse and 1 year supply of water coming directly out of the Mississippi with no filtration. This is normal, everyday, right out of the river water that you can drink without ever having to do anything. And what they discovered was Mississippi water gets rid of cancers, brain tumors, colds, COVID, and everything else that you could possibly have. If you've got a broken arm, it heals it if you put it on your arm within 34 seconds. It's been proven by the Mayo Clinic and Johns Hopkins University. And finally, when you get it, because wait, there's more, you get one of my very famous lamb black cap hats. Now, this hat is very, very special. It is filled with or lined with a high-grade aluminum foil. So when those nasty aliens are trying to zap your brain, it just bounces off, just like bang, which reminds me, it also comes with these glasses. And these are the same glasses that Roddy Piper used in the movie. What was the name of that movie again? It Is. But you know, he would put the glasses on and he would see the subliminal messages that all the human beings were getting. And he'd take it off and he'd see like the reality, and he'd put them on and he'd see that you were an alien, and he'd take them off and you would look normal. And these are the same ones, and they work exactly the same way. Never be caught by surprise by aliens walking down the streets of New York ever again. So just give me your credit card. I will fill everything up, and you should get it within the next 6 months.
I was ready to order, Scott. I was waiting for the number.
Oh, call 1-800. We sell lots.
Yeah, that's right.
So, Chaffee, when most people talk about selling, I think they have some version of what I just did go through their head, or they think of a used car salesman that comes up and I don't think used car salesmen act like we think used car salesmen act anymore anyway, but there's a lot of negative connotations, and it really has a terrible impact on people's businesses.
Absolutely. And you know, it comes from just people being sold things that they don't want or they don't need, right? And people out there selling things just for the fact of making money. And so that's really, you know, what it's all about. For example, Dan would have bought your hat. Hey, Dan, good to see you.
I love my hat, by the way. So I wanted to, I had that preconceived notion about selling for years and years. And it really did me a disservice. In fact, you know, the TV infomercials in particular, the timeshare, the timeshares presentations are all set up to influence or sell to people who they know do not want to buy, that come into the room because they're going to get a free 3 nights at the thing, and they have to be an hour there. So they've actually designed it so that, you know, they make sales, right? So they overcome all those objections. But I remember once my son was watching an infomercial on knives, you know, cutting knives for cooking and stuff. And
I bought those knives. I bought them.
I did too. Yeah, I bought them too. And I didn't want to buy them. And pardon me, he wore me down. So I said, I'm going to buy these and I'm not going to buy anything else because what do I know? I know that they're going to upsell me. Pardon me. And they did. They tried, but I was determined not to fall for it. And what they were going to upsell me was a block of wood with little slits in it so that I could put the knives in there and have it on my counter.
So let's just be clear, Scott. An upsell is another item that they want to sell you after they've already sold you their primary item. So they want to sell you up to another level.
Yeah, they want to sell me more. Yeah. So I said, no. And so for the next 5 years, guess what I regretted?
Saying no.
Yeah. I wish I had bought the block.
Right.
Because I had 500 super sharp knives laying in my drawer. And I couldn't pick up one without slicing my finger off on one of the other ones. No, they were great knives. I loved those knives. My son loved those knives. And they were in a drawer. And I thought, it would have been so much nicer to have had. In fact, I have a prop. I just realized where I am.
And he's gone.
See?
Wow.
There they are. These are not the ones, but these we'll pretend that they are, right? So it all works really nice. But I was stubborn, obstinate, and pig-headed all at the same time. And I said no. For $29.95, I went through 5 years of, I wish I'd have bought those. And of course, I don't remember the number. I don't remember URL. I don't remember anything. So there's the thing about sales, follow up, right? You bought the knives. You've had them for a month. Are you sure you don't want this stupid block? Yeah, you're right. I want the stupid block. Send it to me. Okay. Well, it's now $49.95, $20 extra because you were an idiot. I don't care at this point. I want the block, right? And so we don't know what we want oftentimes, right? And we don't know necessarily what we need. And I'll tell you, the block would have made life this much little bit easier. This, not a magic wand of being happy or anything, but I just remember how much I regretted not getting that block because I had a preconceived notion of sales that was bad, right? And I didn't think of them as people that wanted to help me as much as they just wanted to get the sale and move on to the next. And, with an infomercial at 2 a.m, it's kind of hard to think anything different, but it's not necessarily the case.
So the amazing thing, Scott, is that, I speak at different events, I speak at different conferences, and I talk to a lot of people. And inevitably, I'm in a room with a bunch of small business owners, right? So business owners that have their own businesses, that do their own thing, that have their own products, that have their own services. And I always ask these business owners is, who has something to sell? Now, if you're in business, obviously you have something to sell, right? And so all the hands raise up. And then I said, who loves to sell? And I get like 3 or 4 hands out of 100 rising up, right? And then I ask the question, which is, if you don't like to sell your own stuff, how are you going to stay in business? And it just amazes me how people have these products and services, and yet they don't want to sell it because of this negative connotation that you have, that you're talking about.
Right.
And so, one, you don't want to buy anything because, as the saying goes, people like to buy, they hate to be sold, right?
Yes.
And then the second thing is that because they have that negative connotation, they don't want to be sold, and so they don't want to sell to other people. And if you are in business, any kind of business, and you're not selling anything, how do you expect to stay in business? Like, products just don't magically, sell themselves. Sometimes you get a really good product that will, sell itself. Only you still got to go out there. You still have to share that product. You still have to market it. You still have to get it out to the public.
Right.
And, selling is a part of business, and you got to understand that is a key thing. And I know that the most successful people that I know are also really good at selling things. Now, I do have to say a couple things though, Scott. Just, lay this out there so that we can build the foundation of what we're talking about here. is that I also, when I was growing up, had the same concepts that you're talking about, which is this negative connotation about sales. And it comes from, again, people selling things that they shouldn't be selling, and people selling things just for the sake of making money and not helping people and all that kind of stuff. Only we'll get into that. Only the two phrases that really stuck to my mind as I was learning about sales, first and foremost, is that if you believe in something, if you believe in a product or a service, you're obligated to sell it. There's an obligation for you to sell that product because you believe in it and you believe it will help somebody. And then the second thing is that if you don't believe in something, then you have to stop selling it, right? And so what you're doing then is you're harming people. So the first one, if you believe in something, you're selling because you believe it's going to help people. The second one, if you don't believe in it, you got to stop selling it because you're hurting people. And we're all about helping people. We're all about giving people a service, being a servant's heart, and really getting out there and doing the right thing. And so, I want to dive into those two concepts a little bit, Scott. Only,
yes,
that's the foundation of sales. And when you understand those two concepts, one, you're going to be really good at sales, and two, you're going to do a lot of sales because you're going to help a lot of people.
Right. And I think you've hit on the key there. And it's an attitude adjustment, right? Because we have, there's a lot of negative connotations. It's like most businesses, there's been good, bad, and good and bad people, and the bad people kind of ruin it for the good people. And
and a lot of times when you say the bad people, there are bad people out there. There are bad salespeople out there. There are people out there that, like I said, are just selling things to make a dime and not really care about other people. And I think there are also a lot of people out there that's what they're taught, right? And so, you go into an insurance company, for example. Some insurance companies tell people, just go out there and sell the biggest policy you can. Get out there and sell the most expensive policy that you can. And that's not the right thing to do for their clients. Only because they can sell these big policies, they're going to get a lot more commissions. And so, they're not bad people. It's just what they're taught. And so there's bad sales organizations teaching bad sales concepts and bad sales techniques out there.
Right.
Just like you talked about, the timeshare industry is fraught with this, right? The timeshare industry has sales quotas and goals and techniques and strategies to sell people stuff that they don't want or they don't need. And sometimes, with the investment in a timeshare, it's something that's really going to hurt them in the long run because financially, they may not be able to afford that. So,
right. So I guess we should make a bit of a distinction between, large impersonal organizations that only care about the bottom line and don't really care about the customers. And our target market tends to be smaller businesses and entrepreneurs, solopreneurs, who really your reputation is all that you have. People only, hire you as a coach because you have this reputation for being an amazing coach and able to help them grow their business with integrity and gusto. So if all of a sudden you've got, 10 clients and you just took them on because, hey, you could get $5,000 a month out of them, and you don't really care about them, not spending very much time on them, you're not helping them at all, then your business is going to collapse because they're going to tell all their friends, don't bother going to see Chaffee because he's just in it for the monies. And there are people in our industry, it's like they churn and burn, I think is what it's called, right? I mean, they just flip through people like crazy until they run out of people, and then they leave town, they go to another city and they do the same thing. Which I think actually in our industry is a problem that we have, in that there are people who are really good at selling, but they've got a terrible product. And there are people that are really have amazing products, can't sell them their way out of a paper bag.
That's true. And so let's talk a little bit more about that. There are, in our industry, you're talking about the real estate industry, the internet marketing industry, all of the above.
Yeah, I was thinking more of the internet. I was thinking in my head of a specific time when I was in a room with 35 people all day, and they had, I think, 7 speakers, all spoke for 45 minutes. And the last person to speak was the reason I was there. And the reason I was there is I wanted to see how he spoke, right? Like I wanted to learn and see what he was doing, right? So the first couple get up and talk, and you can tell they're sincere and they're wonderful, and they can do what they said they can do. Nobody went to the back of the room. Second person was exactly the same. Nobody went to the back of the room. Third person, exactly the same. One person went to the back of the room. And so the whole thing went, right? And then this guy talks, and when he's done, 30 of the 35 people go to the back of the room. And myself and a friend of mine who was there were two of the people that did not. And he said to me, "How come you're not at the back of the room?" And I said, "I'm just here to listen. I'm not here to buy." And I said, "Why aren't you at the back of the room?" He says, "I bought his product 25 years ago. It didn't work very well then. I don't think it's going to work any better now." But 35 people, 30 of the 35 people were at the back of the room seeing if they could buy his product.
So there's the dilemma, right? As you said, sometimes people with the best product out there are horrible at sales, and so they don't get.
And you can understand that, right? I mean, if you're working on a gadget or widget or making a hat, that's not a sales skill. That's a making hat skill.
Right.
Just wanted to bring that up.
That's right. And then the people that that don't have the best product, that are good at sales, can sell, as they say, ice to an Eskimo, and that's not always the right thing. And so, I do want to talk.
The new politically correct way to say that, by the way, is rice to a Vietnamese person.
Oh, is that right? Is that how you say that? Tacos to a Mexican? Hey, we shouldn't get into this whole political correct thing, all right? And I'll eat tacos any day, by the way.
I just got a note. We've been banned. We're no longer allowed.
Oh, no.
We're no longer allowed on the internet.
All right. We respect all nationalities, by the way. Just want to make that clear. So anyways, though, so here's the thing is, if you have, and I said this before, if your product is, here's the litmus test, right? Would you use your product? Would you buy the product you're selling? Mm-hmm. And how is that product helping you? Okay. And if the answer is yes, then why wouldn't you want to share that with somebody? Why wouldn't you want to help other people? Because if it's changed your life. Now, the reason I became a coach was because I saw the effects of coaching on my life. Every single time I hired a coach, well, not every time, only every single time I hired a good coach, let's put it that way, I saw my businesses grow. I saw my myself grow. I saw my mind expand. I saw my wallet expand. And so I love the results of working with somebody that had a vested interest in me and was interested in working on helping me grow. And that's why I became a coach. And so now I sell coaching services because I believe in the effect that working with a coach has on somebody. And, I see the results in the industry. I see the results in the professional industry. If you're an actor at the top of their game, you still have acting coaches. If you're an athlete,
professional athletes, absolutely, yeah,
they have coaches. Anybody that is at the top of the game always has coaches. And so I believe in coaching, and that's why I sell coaching. Now, if I hired 3 coaches and they did absolutely jack and squat and didn't help me whatsoever, then I probably wouldn't be selling coaches service. As a matter of fact, I know I wouldn't be selling coaching services. I know I wouldn't be a coach because I'd be upset. I'd be angry. I'd be, disenfranchised about, coaches, like, oh, they're nothing. I spent a lot of money. I got nothing from them. And so, there are people in the coaching industry that sell coaching services, and it's a lot of fluff, right? It's a lot of hooey-pooey concepts that don't really help the individual. They package up a I don't know, something that looks really cool, that sounds really cool, that actually does absolutely nothing for anybody, right? And then they charge a lot of money for it. And so that gives everybody in the coaching industry a bad name. And so unfortunately, there's a lot of those people because coaching is a hot industry, and there's a lot of money to be made in coaching. And that could be the same thing as, the car industry right now, right?
Or any business, right? I mean,
any business.
You look at any business, and there are winners and losers, and you can see a lot of people that made a lot of money, in the weight loss. I mean, pick an industry, in the weight loss industry or whatever. I mean, Steve Jobs started in a garage, and look what happened to him and Bill Gates. You know, they they were the successful ones. There were probably 100 other people in a garage fiddling around doing the same thing, but never had that break or never had that success. So it seems to me that you have to figure out what you want, and then you have to be willing to make the changes, because what you want is always going to be outside your comfort zone. And to pull it back to sales, if you're someone that is struggling with your sales and you're not willing to get a sales coach, then you're dealing with your poverty mentality. You're coming up against your poverty mentality, your attitude about success and everything else, because you're not doing any steps to improve the situation. So when I realized that I can't speak Spanish and Duolingo isn't really going to help, and then I also made the commitment to learn it, I got a tutor, 3 times a week. And my Spanish is way better now than it was, before. And I'm going back into Spanish countries, and I had like a 2-month break from my tutor because it was just overwhelming with work and him. But once I'm back in the Spanish countries, which I'm in Mexico now, we're starting up again, I think next week or the week after, and we're going to go. So I'm like thinking, just to follow this whole thing up, is I'm walking down the street and I'm thinking, well, I haven't counted to 10 in Spanish in a long time. So I did. And then I thought, well, what about this word? Or what about that word? Or what about this phrase? And I was just amazed at how they just started coming up naturally, right? And so if you're struggling with your sales and you're not willing to put in the work with somebody to help you, because they can see immediately where your problem is, right? You will never see what your problem is. I couldn't see what my problem was with the Spanish. In fact, I thought, I'm never going to learn this. This is impossible. And every week I was like, wow, I'm really improving. And my Spanish speaking friends were like, oh, your Spanish is really getting good. And that's the same thing that's going to happen with you in the sales part. Like if you have the wrong attitude, you need to fix it. You need to find someone to help you. If you're maybe taking the wrong approach, maybe your, technique is wrong. I know for me, I always thought that you had to be like this bulldog and get in there and just like, rah, whatever. And it's just not my personality. So then I was like, well, that's not me. I can't do it. So how do you sell in integrity? And by that, I mean, not selling something that's bad, but selling your way so that you feel good about how you do your sales. Because there's lots of different types, right?
Sure.
There's consultative sales. There's going to parties and meeting the creme de la creme of whatever your target market is, and rubbing elbows and getting to become friends with them, and then saying, hey, like I know a fellow in Hawaii. He bought a sailboat so that he could invite realtors and plumbers and carpenters and construction managers and property managers on his boat. And he would take them out for a 2-hour sail and get to know them. And at the end, all he said was, if you're at a house and the roof is in really bad shape, give me a call. So he had all these people bird dogging for him, right? And then he'd call the people up and say, hey, Chaffee was just fixing your plumbing, and he just told me like your roof is almost all gone. Do you want me to come over and give you a quote? I can probably help you get your insurance to pay for it, or something won't cost you anything.
Well, that's a great idea, because one, you could write off the boat as a business expense, and then 2, the people have nowhere to go. They're stuck there. You have them for 2 hours. And
I know, he pulls out a whiteboard and he does all this.
That's right. Where are they going to go? No, seriously though, let's go back to sales though, Scott. I mean, we could spend, 3 days on talking about the best sales strategies, techniques, how to sell people, to sell, stuff. I know you're going to bring up a great book to share with everybody. Only before that,
it'll be next time.
Wonderful. Stay tuned.
And go up next week. Same bat channel, same bat station.
The thing that I want to bring up about sales, just to give people, that are struggling with sales, is two concepts and 2 ideas. First of all, sales is about education. It's about educating people on things that they're not aware of. And when you can educate them enough about a certain product or service or feature or benefit of something, then that's going to entice them to sell more. The second thing, and probably the most important thing though, is that are you teaching them something that they want or need or is a benefit to them, right? So don't just, the biggest challenge I think with a lot of salespeople who have really good products, that love their product and love their service, is that they talk about how much they love their product and love their service. And it's all about them, right? Oh, I love this because of this. I love this because of this. And this does this. And this helped me do this. And well, you're not talking to your customer or your client then. You're not helping them, because all you're doing is talking about what it's done for you. And so the key is to find out what are they looking for and how can your product or service help them, right? And then if you can educate them on your product or service, how that product or service can help them, those I think are the two fundamental keys of good salespeople, is finding out what people need or want, and then finding out how your product or service can help them in what they need or want, and being true to that, right? Being full of integrity with that, not just finding out what they want and then making up stuff that sounds good to help them, right? So
so if you're not a weight loss coach and you're a business coach and you get some business person in front of you and you say, okay, like, what's your biggest problem? And they say, I need to lose weight. Sales are great. Business is awesome. Then probably if you have a buddy that does weight loss, say, well, I know somebody that can really help you, and let me get you two in touch. Because someone may say that's a long-term look at building a strong business, right? Because most people will say, oh no, convince him that you can help him even double it faster or something, right? And probably you could. But the fact is that he's got a problem right now that he wants solved. He's told you what it is. It's not one that you particularly want to solve. But if you go and refer to a really good coach and he loses 30 pounds, a number of things happen. One is that coach, through the law of reciprocity, is going to be keeping an eye out for you. And secondly, this guy is going to say, when I do have a business problem, I'm going to get a hold of Chaffee, because I know Chaffee's heart is good. He really has my best interests at heart, and away you go. And when you have one person, it might make a little bit or no significant difference to your business. But if you've done that over 5 years and you have 500 people that you've done that with, your business is going to look after itself. Right? Zig Ziglar said it best. If you help enough people get what they want, you'll get what you want. And he didn't say, if you help enough people buy your product and be happy with it, you'll get what you want, right? So maybe what they want is something you can't help them with in terms of your product or service, but you can help them in terms of your references or your recommendations.
So what you just said there was another characteristic of a great salesperson, Scott.
Oh, thank you.
Well, you're welcome. Only that characteristic of a great salesperson is being a connector, right? It's connecting people to other people. And so again, when you're a connector and you're not focused on selling your own product, you're focused on helping people get what they want, then you can connect them and refer them to other individuals. That in turn, as you said, in the long picture, in the big picture, in the long run, will come back and help you, because people will start talking about you. People will start referring you as you refer to other people as well. So having that mentality is so, having a servant's heart, looking to help people, being an educator, learning how to teach people, and then being a connector and connecting people with the right things. Those are three traits of great salespeople that allow you to sell with integrity, allow you to sell to help people versus just selling them stuff for $1 or $1 or anything. And I tell you, I've been in sales organizations where it's just, it's competitive. It's just, you sell them anything and everything you can, and, just go for the kill. Right. And it doesn't do anybody any kind of service. It doesn't help people. It might make some money in the short term, only you get bad will on the back end. You get a high rate of return. One of those speakers that you were talking about, where they would sell 30 out of the 35 people. I knew somebody like that. Well, I know him. He's still around. I know somebody like that. He still does it, and he's a great salesperson. Has tons and tons of That's all he shows when he presents, though, is he doesn't really talk about his product or service. He just shows a bunch of testimonials. And if you're selling to thousands and thousands of people, you're going to have a handful of testimonials because some people are going to succeed. Right. So he shares all these testimonials, doesn't talk about his product or service really, just shares a bunch of testimonials, sends a whole bunch of people to the back of the room, and is almost always one of the top, if not the top salesperson at these kind of events. What you don't see behind the scenes is that he's also one of the top refunded persons at these events. And so he consistently has a 25 to 30% return rate where people are returning and refunding his product because they know it's not working for them. So, and you don't want 25% of your people upset at you for spending a bunch of money and not getting results, because that doesn't do you well.
Right. Absolutely.
So, I think that's the horn, Scott.
Time's up.
That's right.
Gotta put a bow on this.
We should mention, Scott, and we always forget this. If anybody has any questions or comments they'd like to share, please put it in the comments. We'll be more than happy to answer those questions.
Yeah. You know what? I don't know why he's beeping his horn.
Because he likes us.
And if someone wants to get a hold of you, Chaffee, we have a little video here that they can watch. There you go, folks. So Chaffee, one last tip before we go. You're in sales. What's one thing someone can do to improve? I just thought of mine, to improve their sales.
Well, I go back to the 2 points that I talked about earlier, which is, sell something because you believe in it, because it's going to help somebody. It's like if somebody trips and falls and you have and scratches their knee and you have a Band-Aid and you don't sell it to them, like you're doing them a disservice, right? They're bleeding out and you have something that's going to help them and you don't help them. And so if you have a product or service that you believe in, that is going to help people, you're obligated to sell that product or service. And then obviously if you have something that is a product or service you don't believe in, you're selling something to somebody and you don't believe in it, so you're actually doing them a disservice, you're hurting them. So if you keep those 2 things in mind and always focus on helping people, and looking to lead with a servant's heart, then your sales strategy will completely change. Your ideas, your thoughts are going to feel better, and that's going to make a huge difference in your business and your growth.
Yeah, thanks, Dan. Yeah, being of service and a connector is so very important. Nice job on this episode. Appreciate that a lot. I forgot what mine was, but I thought of another one. We typically don't like doing what we're not good at. And one thing that people rarely do is practice their pitch. They don't spend time thinking about, okay, how am I going to structure what I'm going to say? What am I going to say? And then practice saying it so that it comes out as a normal part of conversation that can be tweaked depending on who you're talking with. Generally, it's kind of like, here's the first line of my pitch. This is the second line of my pitch. And here's my close, which is not normal, doesn't feel good, doesn't feel normal. The other person is like, I don't know what's going on with this person. So practice it. Like, work with a coworker, get a coach, and say, okay, I want to practice how I can get interest, how I can, because there's a definite pattern of sales, and you just need to be able to follow that pattern, be comfortable with the pattern, be able to kind of go off on a little bit of tangents depending on who you're talking to, and then you're done. And when you're done, they're either going to say yes or no, and then you can take that feedback and tweak it until you get higher rates of success.
Awesome. Well, Scott, like I said, we could talk about this for 3 or 4 days. I'm assuming we're going to talk about sales more often down the road or in the next episode.
The next month or so, we've got a whole list of specific sales topics that we've put in the calendar so we won't forget. And next week, we're going to be talking about the different types of salespeople. because we have the used car salesman stereotype. We've got the person that goes to all the parties. We've got my friend with the sailboat. There are different ways that you can approach sales depending on your personality. And we're going to leave with, we're going to give the last word to Dan Muhorter. Being able to know you need to refer someone if they are not a good fit for your business product is important as well. The connector, which can give you street cred. Thank you, Dan. Appreciate that. We should ask Dan to join us one day and be a guest. He might know a little bit about sales.
Knows a little bit about it.
A little bit about it. He sells and buys tons of houses. It's just phenomenal. Yep. So, okay. Thank you for joining us, everybody. Chaffee, appreciate your wisdom as usual.
Appreciate you too, Scott. Thank you so much.
And I think that's it, everybody. Come back next week. Make sure you leave lots of comments. Make sure you share and like and subscribe. Hit the bell notification so that we don't. YouTube and Facebook will send you messages telling you that we're going live. And
think of any sales questions that you have. We'd be more than happy to answer them for you.
That's right. See you next time. Bye-bye.